The shift has already begun. This is about Venus entering into the sign of Aquarius. This is where you're going to feel this subtle but also this undeniable shift in many areas of your life. I'm hearing the construct is shifting. I'm seeing you being in the construct room in the Matrix right now. If you guys know that, the construct room is where you think something and it manifests into physical form and a tangible form instantaneously. That's what I'm seeing. It's the profound impact and effect that your decisions are having now. And this is a subtle shift that you're going to be feeling in multiple arenas of your life. The fact that I said arena instead of area is the arena is where something's about to go down, right? An arena is where a show is about to take place, or a competition, or like a game is about to unfold in your life. It's almost as if you're reaching some type of new level in multiple avenues in your life. So this is in many areas, not just when it comes to romance, when we talk about Venetian energy, but also when it comes to your career, your purpose, health, vitality, friendships, relationships, and even your relationship with time itself. You may actually notice this preference for freedom over obligation, or a pull towards resonance rather than roles that you've been playing. Because if you don't know, in the tarot, Venus in Aquarius is 5 of Swords. Okay, so this is what represents Venus in Aquarius. Now, the 5 of Swords construct is this willingness to let life move in unconventional ways, because this is somebody basically cutting loose ends. They're cutting ties with a situation that they just no longer see eye to eye with. And that's what I'm seeing. There's like a new bandwidth that you've upgraded. It's almost like when you upgrade your Wi-Fi or your router, and that you're upgrading into a new bandwidth. And I'm hearing it's allowing you to access a new server, but it's limited in some way. It's almost as if it comes with a trade-off, but it's an ability where you care very deeply about you and some type of area of your life without becoming entangled. This is somebody that's severing some type of connection, but knowing that it also leads to a simultaneous new beginning, because death is not the end. It's a glimpse into new dimensions, which are just new frequencies where new stories get to play out. So this is a stronger orientation to the future that you're becoming, rather than the past in which you've outgrown. That's literally what the 5 of Swords archetype is going through. It's not detachment born from some type of avoidance. Instead, it's detachment born from clarity, because it's where you're becoming compassionate to your own soul's journey, essentially, right? Compassion, if not including yourself, is not complete. And there was also another mention that was coming through. What was making decisions for your highest good is also ultimately in the highest good of those around you. So yeah, Venus in Aquarius doesn't cool the heart. She clears any kind of static that you've been having around it, because this is where your heart is going to lead you in ways that the logical, rational mind is going to catch up with in a linear fashion. She teaches that connection doesn't need to have that heavy core to it in order for it to be meaningful. Instead, this is about service, it's about love, it's about devotion that doesn't require for you to self-erase yourself in any way, right? Even if this is a devotion that you have to work, and maybe that's changing, I'm just seeing things evolve as you do. Okay, you're an organism of consciousness. Everything else that you interact and engage with can become entangled with you. And if you're evolving and the things in your experience that were in a vibrational resonance with an old version of self that you've evolved beyond are also not changing with you, okay, this is a quote that's coming through. Caterpillars can't really see its own wings when they transform into butterflies. The way that they know they have wings is often because the other caterpillars are like, whoa, what's happened to you, right? You're no longer reinforcing the same expectation that we've had. But also, not everyone and everything is designed to evolve with you. Sometimes you evolve beyond it, and everything is moving at its own pace. So this is also about respecting your free will as well as the free will of other souls. And the truth can be gentle during this transit, but also very exact in what it is that you know you must do. So let's talk about Venus in Aquarius as an archetype and what she embodies, right? If this transit was personified, Venus in Aquarius would walk into a room and the energy would subtly reorganize. Not because they demanded attention, not because they tried to lead, but because something inside you would relax. Your system would realize it doesn't need to brace. They are unmistakably different, but not in a way that seeks distinction. Their presence feels slightly ahead of the moment, as though they are tuned in to a future frequency that you recognize, but you haven't reached fully yet. Their style is effortless, it's unconventional, it's lightly untouchable, it's not curated for approval, that's for sure. It's not softened to be palatable in any way. They might wear something that doesn't quite make sense until it does, you know? It's like a texture or a choice or a detail that feels oddly precise, an elegance that comes from not needing to be seen, yet always being felt. They don't seduce through intensity, they seduce through permission. Permission to be different, permission to evolve, permission to no longer explain yourself. I'm hearing even over explain yourself. They're literally the definition of integrity and walking with it, right? Which means that you don't seek for external permission or acceptance because it compromises that integrity. Instead, you walk forth becoming a witness to your own instead of seeking external witnesses around, is this okay? You know, am I wearing this right? Aquarius and Venus energy, just they go out there and they do it. And around them, you'll feel less performative because it just feels authentic to them. You'll feel less guarded, you'll feel more honest with yourself. How Venus in Aquarius loves is they don't fall in love. Instead, they open up this space for love to emerge. And love isn't just this sensation or biochemical response or reaction within the body, it's actually a state of awareness. She's drawn to how your mind moves, what you're here to question or disrupt, the future version of you that hasn't fully arrived yet. She loves you for who you are becoming, not who you're required to be. She refuses emotional manipulation or guilt-based bonds and inherited scripts that confuse suffering with devotion. There are no power games here, no scarcity, no unbroken contracts that require self-betrayal. She needs space, not because she doesn't care, but because love without freedom ceases to be love. She speaks truth gently, but without apology. She would rather be clear than adored, aligned rather than attached. She might say things like, I don't want to own you. I want to witness your becoming. I want to witness your evolution. And if we end up growing in different directions, that isn't wrong. Ooh, it's that she doesn't chase in any way. She actually invites. You know, Venus in Aquarius doesn't promise forever. She promises presence, resonance, as long as that may last, and evolution. So how you'll feel after being in her presence is, this is where the imprint is felt most clearly, because after Venus in Aquarius, you don't feel consumed, you feel expanded. You may notice less attachment to validation, a clearer sense of what no longer fits, a calm that exists even without certainty, a stronger connection to yourself. She doesn't leave you wanting more of her. She leaves you wanting more of yourself. You may walk away realizing that you no longer want connections that cage you. Intensity is not the same as intimacy. Love does not require sacrifice of your essence. Sometimes the connection doesn't last forever, but the upgrade in consciousness does. This is about things that you take on after this human experience. It's about the wisdom through experience, through this participational agreement, right? This participational experiential participation that you're partaking in, and also others are partaking when it comes to the characters of your story. But she doesn't get caught up in the character that she's leaving behind, or even the story that had played out in itself. Instead, she's extracting and cultivating the wisdom, and she's actually feeling grateful for the circumstances that had unfolded, because they are always in benefit for the soul's evolution. And she understands that. She is deeply in alignment with that. And a metaphor that I have for this, I don't know if you guys have heard about the flower metaphor, but it essentially is this core teaching in the way that I view Venus in Aquarius, because there's this ancient truth that Venus in Aquarius carries effortlessly. And it's that if you love a flower, you don't pick it, because the moment that you pick it, it dies. Love is not possession. Love is appreciation. Venus in Aquarius loves like this. She kneels beside what she cares for. She observes how it grows, honors how it responds to light and space and time. She understands something essential. The moment you try to own what is alive, you interrupt its intelligence. This applies to people, to work, to purpose, and to life itself. So how this bleeds into the everyday human experience is in relationships, right, or relations to others. You actually stop gripping, you stop chasing the certainty. You also choose connections that are freely chosen, not maintained due to obligation or social courtesy. She doesn't care about those things. In friendship and community, you allow other people to change without resentment. You release loyalty contracts that require any kind of like self-erasing, and you honor presence without demanding any kind of permanence. In family dynamics, you'll detach from roles while also keeping compassion. You love without absorbing unfinished lineage stories, and you realize distance can coexist with devotion. In work, service, and mission, Venus in Aquarius becomes especially profound because she teaches you that your purpose is not something to exploit. Your gifts are not meant to be drained, and your service must remain alive to remain true. You don't own your calling, you collaborate with that. Let's let that sink in for a moment. When you stop trying to control your mission, it actually expands. There's this paradox that happens because when you stop extracting from it, you actually begin to allow it to nourish you back. How Venus in Aquarius impacts the soul having a human experience, and what you're going to kind of witness happen within the physical vessel as a spiritual being that you're embodying, is a remembering that love is not meant to trap consciousness. Desire actually is a compass and not a contract. You're here to experience, not to repeat karmic loops. This is the moment that the soul says, I will no longer abandon my future self to keep my past self comfortable. Venus in Aquarius helps you release soul contracts rooted in any kind of obligation. Also choose connections that honor your nervous system as well as your mission. This is about love without losing your own frequency and rewriting intimacy one consciousness leads. This is the moment the soul steps back as the observer, as the awareness anchored into the body, and it asks this simple question: does this expand my timeline, or anchor me into the old one? The deeper truth of this transit is Venus in Aquarius isn't here to take love away. She's here to upgrade it. This is from attachment into alignment. It's from obligation to choice, from chemistry into compatibility with your future, romance into resonance. This is love that doesn't ask you to soften, shrink, or sacrifice yourself. This is the type of love that says, be yourself fully, and I will meet you there. It's very, very different. When you allow life, love, and purpose to breathe, they don't disappear, they bloom. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at Venus in Aquarius. So we're going to use the Five of Swords archetype. And I'm going to pull a Cosmos Oracle message to be complementary to this energy and see what this is. We have Wormhole. That was like the last card that just flew out this deck. Let's see. What's the theme for while Venus is transiting Aquarius? Let's see. The Spiral. You have a virtuous or vicious cycle with the spiral. So the spiral actually talks about within the cosmos, things can appear to be chaotic in your life. Within something that could feel disorderly, there is a secret order. And the way that you think about what this transition that's happening in your life is going to change the way that you emotionally experience it. That's going to change your bioelectrical charge as a bioelectrical being, right? And that's going to shift the way that you experience this shift. Now, what I'm also seeing with this, oh, there was another message that was coming through. Let's see if it comes back around. Let me go ahead and read the spiral. A curve which emanates from a point moving farther away as it revolves around another. Okay, this is what was coming through. Your source of order, something within you is remained locally ordered, and that is your cosmos with them. Okay, it's locally ordered. Well, disorder is displaced. So this is about anything that feels chaotic in your life is not something that you're focusing on. Instead, you're asking yourself deeper questions around, okay, where am I guiding myself? Where is my higher self or future self leading me? What am I being drawn towards, instead of focusing on what it is that I'm pulling my energy away from? Okay, I'm hearing reclaiming lost fragments of myself. So it reminds me of the 𝓪𝓭𝓪𝓐, because the 𝓪𝓭𝓪𝓐 behaves like a system that actually is in this high entropy environment when it comes to life on Earth, right? There's so much contrast, there's a paradox here, there's a lot of polarity that you're experiencing for rapid soul growth. And let's wait a minute. I'm gonna let this siren go by with the car. It talks about a hidden reservoir that the 𝓪𝓭𝓪𝓐 has, this self-sustaining, reorganizing, hidden organization process that your soul has, okay, internally. There's an octave of you seated at high level of understanding and is able to see things that the human cannot yet. That's what I'm seeing. And Aquarius season is all about things changing as far as your perspective goes. Venus is about your values, right? Things that maybe held value in your life but also no longer do. Also things that you maybe used to value that also you no longer do. Maybe things that have served a purpose but also no longer do moving forward. So I'm just seeing frequency gaps being a huge thing during this transit and how well you can honor that. Okay, and understanding what it is that you need most in that transit point that you're going through, essentially. So this talks about moving from a vicious cycle, something that can feel vicious, to the ego around things are being ripped away from me, I'm being ripped away from things. No, this is very much a, okay, actually, the universe is pulling me inwards. And with the crows represent a preparation for change, right? In my Shaman's Drink Miracle message, which is about a new world that you're literally stepping into, it talks about stepping into a new life and the courage to do that. The things that you cling to are actually going to be the first things that are removed, because again, nothing is to be possessed, because this is all merely an experience. It's all merely an illusion. I am an illusion of your subconscious mind. So, with that being said, yeah, I'm gonna love and leave you guys right there. I feel like that is the message as a whole. Maybe we'll pull one more and see if I can get a gateway of the light activation, and then I'm gonna love and leave you guys right there, right? Let's see what the role is that's going on. Let's see. We have inner space, the sacral chakra. Sacral chakra is about tenderness and sensuality. You had maybe been told that you weren't beautiful, but that wasn't true. This is about the construct's opinions of others, and if that's dictating the way that you choose to move through this system, through this matrix, because it is designed as a psychological operation to divert your attention to the external realm. But when you, for a moment, turn your attention away from the material plane and into the immaterial, away from the finite and into the infinite soul that you are, and remember yourself as an abundant being, come back to what it is that you've always been. Harmony never disappeared. Your awareness just focused away from it for a moment, perhaps. But you were back. You were safe. You were secure. You were grounded in this body, in this physical experience. Understand what serves you. Understand what it is that you are here to experience, because I'm hearing, if you don't know who you are, the world will tell you. And the illusion exists to serve you. You don't exist to serve it. I'm hearing some of you are finding ways to be of service to the illusion that has been created. So, There's a difference when it comes to being of service and also becoming a servant. Serve too many masters and you'll soon suffer. But suffering is a choice. Self-created cycles of suffering is what the ego often finds itself in. Can you break free from that paradigm? So, I'm going to love any of you guys right there. Vulnerability is the only bridge to connection. That's another message with this. It could be putting yourself out there in a new way, putting something that you're creating out there in a new way that's going to lead to new connecting points. With that being said, I'm gonna love any of you right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. So love to have you around. Personal reading details also down below. Also check out Auto Spirit if you're looking for some high quality AA grade jewelry. You have 2 discount codes for that in the description box. And until next time, bye.